Hello everyone, welcome to IASBABA's 60 days rapid revision series for Prelims 2022. This is day 55 and here we are concentrating on human geography. So various tribes and others we will discuss. So before that we go with the guesswork. So 71st one, the vegetation of savanna consists of grassland with scattered small trees. The forest development in such areas is generally kept in check by one or more or a combination of some conditions. So which of the following are conditions? So friends, here in the very first street itself, so make sure that you will mark the strongest ones and be ready for the optionals. So here the burrowing animals and termites, so these are not so strong, so we can keep it. Then the fire, friends, fire is one which will bring forest fires and it will burn most of the trees, and that is why the grasslands can be formed. So this is one strong reason. And then the grazing herbivores we will see. Then seasonal rainfall. So friends, here whenever there is a seasonal rainfall, so that means there is one distinctive dry season, and this distinctive dry season will help in forest fires. So this is also one strong option. So we check for 2 and 4. We have in 3, 2, 3 and 4. So this will be the formidable option. So without doing that, if you go through the options, it will always confuse you and you will end up marking wrong. So make sure that you will keep the analysis minimum. By the very look of the question, we got to know that this is an easy question and we will not do over analysis here. Then come to next. With reference to water on planet Earth, consider the following statements. So the amount of water in the rivers and lakes is more than that of the amount of groundwater. Then the amount of water in polar ice caps and the glaciers is more than amount of groundwater. So friends, this is given with table in the NCERTs. So this is an easy question. And as IAS aspirants, it's our bounden duty to read the NCERTs. I'm not going to answer this question. So make sure that you will never miss any of the NCERTs. Then come to next. Consider the following statements. Moringa or drumstick tree is a leguminous evergreen tree, and tamarind tree is endemic to South Asia. Then in India, most of the tamarind tree is collected as the minor forest produce. Then in India, most of the tamarind is collected as minor forest produce. Then India exports tamarind and seeds of moringa. Then seeds of moringa and tamarind can be used in production of biofuels. So friends, just go with the moderate statements and check. See this, it can be used for biofuels. It is moderate, so 5 has to be there. So we will check for 5. But A, B and D, all these have 5. So luck in favor here. And then go with the 4th. India exports tamarind and seeds of moringa. So friends, again it is an open statement. So even if we export 1 kilo of tamarind seeds, so that is export itself, and we cannot say that even that is not exported. So advantage of minusculity, so that will help us here. So consider 4 also. So 4 and 5, it is present only in A and B. And then third one, in India most of the tamarind is collected as minor forest produce. So friends, here what is the difference between a major forest produce and a minor forest produce? So major forest produce is like if we extract that produce, so then there will be a significant destruction of the forest. Say for example, timber is a major forest produce. So if I extract timber, that means I will cut the tree. So there is damage to the environment or the forest. But the minor forest produce is, say like the fruits, seeds, etc. Even if I harvest them, there will not be significant damage. So I will eat the fruit and throw the seeds back. So likewise, honey. So like excess of honey if we extract, there is no significant damage to the forest. So here tamarind is a fruit. So that can be a minor forest produce and not a major forest produce. So here 3 is a correct statement. So 3, 4 and 5 will be the formidable options. So analyze likewise. So even if you don't know whether they are endemic to South Asia or not, you will get the answer. Actually, they are endemic to Africa. Then come to next. The black cotton soil of India has been formed due to the weathering of which of the following? So friends, we know that the fissure volcano rocks. So we know about the large igneous provinces. So near Maharashtra region, the large cracks were happened, and due to these cracks, the lava came out, and now this lava has been solidified, and now it is the black soil. So it is due to the lips, large igneous provinces, that is the fissure volcanoes. Fissure means the cracks that are being formed. Then come to next. With reference to recent developments regarding the recombinant vector vaccine, consider the following statements. So genetic engineering is applied in the development of these vaccines, and bacteria viruses are used as vectors. So friends, here the word recombinant, so that we have heard only in the genetic engineering, that is the recombinant DNA technology. So what is a recombinant DNA? That means if a DNA is synthesized with the use of any other foreign DNAs, so that becomes recombinant DNA. That means this DNA is formed by the recombination of various other DNAs. So hence that word recombinant will suit for genetic engineering. So we will take a guess here. And then bacteria and viruses are used. As friends, we know that the Escherichia coli And then the bacteriophages. So the bacteria and virus, they are used as vectors because they have plasmids. So second statement is a very basic one. So we go with both 1 and 2 as the answer. Then coming to the topics, Cotton 2040 initiative. Cotton 2040 is a pre-competitive multi-stakeholder initiative which exists to support the shift to a sustainable global cotton industry. So that means sustainable cotton is being thought out here. And this should follow following criteria. That is, which should be resilient to a changing climate. Then, which uses business models that support sustainable production and livelihoods, and where sustainable production of cotton is the norm. So here the variety of cotton and the way of production and then the business models. So all the three should be sustainable. Then the Cotton 40's progress to date includes building the Cotton Up Guide. So a guide for building the sustainable varieties and business model for cotton is one of the important works taken up by the Cotton 2040. Then come to more facts. From 2020 to 2022, the Cotton 2040 and its partners will deliver 3 interconnected sequenced work streams. So what are they? One is creating sector-wide collaborative action to adapt to the changing climate, and then increasing uptake of sustainable cotton, and then scaling sustainable business models. So again it is the same targets. So friends, we will concise this to some keywords. That is, Cotton 2040 means it is multi-stakeholders and it is aiming for sustainable cotton varieties, cotton business modules, and also cotton growing mechanism. Then come to next, the IMD, the Indian Meteorological Department, revised the long period average for the Indian monsoon to 87%. So the IMD predicts a normal, below normal or above normal monsoon in relation to a benchmark, that is the long period average. So if something is above normal means it is above the long period average. Then according to IMD, the LPA of rainfall is the rainfall recorded over a particular region for a given interval, that is over a period like 30 to 50 years. So over 30 to 50 years, what is average? That is being taken up. And the IMD's prediction of normal monsoon was based on the long period average of 1971 to 2020 period, during which India received 87 centimeter of rain for the entire country on average. So mark this period, that is 1971 to 2020. So for that period, 87 centimeters was the average, and now that is considered as LPA. And then the IMD in the past has calculated the LPA at 88 centimeter for 1961 to 2010 and at 89 centimeter for 1951 to 2000. So this 87% is less compared to 89 and 88. Then, along with countrywide figure, IMD also maintains LPAs for every meteorological regions of the country. So even the local LPA is also maintained. Then this number ranges from 61 centimeter for drier northwest India and to more than 143 centimeter for the wetter east and northeast India. So remember the range of LPAs. Then come to next, the marine heat waves. So marine heat waves are the periods of increased temperatures over the seas and oceans. And in the Indian Ocean region, they have increased significantly in the past few decades. And the phenomenon is impacting Indian monsoons. Friends, we know that Indian monsoon will occur only when there is a heat contrast between the land and sea. So that means the land will be heated and the sea will be cold. But now if the sea is also heated, then there is no contrast and there is no movement of moisture-laden winds from the sea to the land. So no monsoon as well. And such heat waves are caused by an increase in the heat content of oceans, especially in the upper layers. So remember, marine heat waves means the heating of the uppermost layer of the oceans. Then come to next, worldwide, they are one of the major results of human included global warming. So that is the anthropogenic region is one of the major causes for this marine heat wave. Then during a marine heat wave, the average temperatures of the ocean surface goes for 5 to 7 degrees Celsius above normal. Then El Nino is having generally a warming effect on the world's oceans and land surfaces. Friends, we know that El Nino will not bring sufficient rainfall. So due to heat, it is also one of the causative factors for the marine heat waves. And around 90% of warming caused by the greenhouse gases is absorbed by the oceans. So mark this 90%. It is not an extreme statement. It is factually correct. Then come to next, the Panruti cashew. The Panruti cashew is mainly found in Tamil Nadu. So mark this important, and this is unique because of its taste and quality. Then although these cashew nuts are slightly smaller in the size, they have distinct market value, and it is commonly known as gold mine of Cuddalore in Tamil Nadu. And it is commonly cultivated in laterite red soils as well as coastal sands. Friends, mark this as important. In coastal areas where there is excess of rainfall, so the laterite soils are found, and there the cashews are being cultivated maximum. And it is worth noting that along with the Panruti cashew, Panruti jackfruit, then Panruti cashew apple are also very special. Then Tamil Nadu Cashew Processors and Exporters Association has applied for the geographical indication tag for this Panruti cashew. So remember Tamil Nadu and remember the other products of Panruti and also remember laterite soil. Then come to next, Rabari. Rabari people are an ethnic group in India. They are also known as the Rebaris or Raikas and the Devasi. And they tend to be pastoralists and are in north, central and western states of India such as Gujarat, Rajasthan, Punjab as well as Sindh in Pakistan. And the myth behind Rabari's origin is that Shiva put them on earth to tame camels owned by Parvati. So a mythological background for Rabbaris, and here you can see the clothing and makeup of Rabbaris. So friends, coming to pastoralists, so it is like in the Kutch region and also the Maldari communities. So they are pastoralists. So we know that Maldaris, so they are known for rearing cows near the Gir region. And we have also seen about the man-animal conflicts between the Gir lions and the Maldaris cows. And in these areas, they comprise 5 related groups, that is Debar, then Gardo, Kanto, Kachi and Ragad. Then Raika pastoral community for centuries have been known for their expertise in camel herding. So remember all these are the camel herders. And also remember the state and the part of India in which they belong. Then the Tigray. So here friends, we know that in Tigray there were clashes. And in this context, Oromo people, so they are a Cushitic ethnic to Ethiopia who speak the Oromo language. And they are the largest ethnic group in Ethiopia. And the Tigrayans, who make up roughly 6% of Ethiopia's 110 million population, have traditionally enjoyed outsized influence in the government, whereas Oromos, so they have been complaining of the marginalization. So here majority community is being marginalized, and the conflict in Ethiopia is largely between the Tigrayans and Oromos. And Ethiopia's Prime Minister, that is Abiy Ahmed, is an Oromo. So here friends, the Oromos are been fighting to eradicate marginalization and they have been protesting. So here we can see the Tigray, then Amhara, then Addis Ababa, then Oromia and other regions here. And remember friends, Ethiopia, it is a landlocked country. From all sides, it has the land covered. And then come to next, the Tigray. It is the northernmost part of 9 regions of Ethiopia. So here Tigray we have also recognized in the last slide. Then Tigray is the homeland of the Tigrayan, Irob, then Kunama peoples. And Tigray is bordered by Eritrea to the north and Sudan to the west, and Amhara region to the south, and Afar region to the east and southeast. So friends, sub-regions of the nations are not so important for us. So just remember the Ethiopia and also the Tigray and the Oroma. So whichever in use, so that if you remember more than sufficient. And also Addis Ababa to some extent. Then the region is at war with federal government. So we know that many times the protests have occurred. Then come to next, the Goria, Moria and Deshi communities. Goria, Moria and Deshis are the Assam's indigenous Muslim communities. So remember they are in Assam and they are Islamic communities. And the Gorias can trace their lineage back to the time of 13th century Ahom kings. So they have a background of as long as 13th century, and many came with Muslim armies and were captured in warfare. And when they were released, they mingled with the mainstream society. And so even today, most of their cultural traditions match with Assamese customs. So here we can see the Goria community. So it is also called as Gloria. Then come to next, the Morias. Morias came later around the 1500s and they were exceptionally good with crafts, especially the bell metal. And Deshis hail from Lower Assam and they are from undivided Goalpara district. And their ancestors are said to be converts from the Kutch Rajbangshi kingdom in early 13th century. So remember Ahoms, then Kutch Rajbangshis and others, and also remember the Goria, Moria and Deshi community. And here when I hit Goria, Moria and Deshi, I got this figure in Google. I don't know which community they belong, but however, we can use it as a memory enhancer. Then come to next, the Agarias. Agarias, the salt farmers of Little Run of Kutch, produce 30% of India's inland salt, that is about 0.35 million metric tons. And Agarias produce salt from underground brine that has extensive reserves in the region thanks to its hydrogeological formation, unlike the sea salt industry. So remember friends, Agarias will not produce salt from the sea, but by the underground brine. And the brine is pumped out and spread in large pans to evaporate to make the crystal salt. And then the 5,000 square kilometers of Little Run of Kutch is a saucer-shaped region that remains a desert for 8 months and it becomes a brackish water lake in 4 months of southwest monsoon. So when it becomes a brackish water lake, the salt is cultivated here. So these are some of the facts regarding Agarias, and here we can see how they are making salt. Then the Gaddi Sippis. So Gaddi Sippis or Gaddis is a tribe living mainly in the states of Himachal Pradesh and Jammu Kashmir, and Gaddis, a scheduled tribe of Himachal Pradesh, are found principally focused in the Barmori of Chamba district. So if you remember Himachal and Jammu Kashmir, that is more than sufficient, and it is an area popularly called the Gaderan, means the home of Gaddis. So remember the Chamba district and the Barmori areas are called the Gaderans. Then friends, along with the Gadis, it is also worth remembering to revise Bakadwals. So Bakadwal community is given in NCERT. So it is a community listed as the scheduled tribes along the Gujars in the Jammu Kashmir in 1991. And they are the nomadic tribes and they are spread over a large part of land coming from the Pir Panjal to Hindu Kush to Ladakh. And they are goat herders and shepherds and they are seasonally migrants. So here we can see how they dress up. And then come to next, the Minachil. Minachil is the northeastern region of Kottayam district in Kerala. So if you take Kerala likewise, so the northeastern part, so this is the area they are speaking about. And the name originates from Minakshi, the Dravidian goddess. So friends, Minakshi is a famous goddess in South India. That is, we can take a cue from Madurai Minakshi. Then the arterial river of the district is also named Minachil. So there one river flows that is also called Minachil. And the Minachil river, also known as the Kavanar, originates at Vagamon in the western Ghats of Kerala and flows westwards through Kottayam. And near Kottayam, it splits into a number of distributaries before emptying into the Vembanad Lake. So friends, here remember Kottayam, it is a hub for the NEET PG students. That is a postgraduate exam for the medical students. And also remember the Kavanar or Minachil river and the Vembanad Lake. Then come to next, the Lodha and Sabar community. So Lodha people are the tribal or Adivasi people living primarily in the states of West Bengal and Odisha and mostly in the Paschim Medinipur and Jargam district. So remember the two districts, Paschim Medinipur and Jargam. And a section of Lodha has converted to Islam and they form a distinct community called the Lodha Muslims. So mark this as important. So for us, the districts and the state is more than sufficient here. And also take a look at their lives. Then come to next, the Sabar. Sabar people, also called as Shabar or Saora, are one of the Adivasi of Munda ethnic group who live mainly in Odisha and West Bengal, again the same region. And during the colonial period, they were classed as one of the criminal tribes under the Criminal Tribes Act 1871. And they also suffered from social stigma and ostracism in modern times. So here we can see the Sabar community. Then come to next, the Israel-Palestine conflict. So friends, a map work on Israel has already been asked by UPSC. So here again we take a look at. So this is the Israel nation which is sandwiched in the southern part by Egypt and Jordan. And friends, here the Jordan river flows. So this West Bank is called West Bank because so this lies on the west bank of, and here we have Golan Heights. Friends, Golan Heights was asked by UPSC once. And also remember that Israel has West Bank and Gaza. So here in Gaza, there is huge bombing between the Gaza people and the Israeli people. And here we can see the famous Jerusalem. So this is a controversial place between the Jews, Christians and Muslims. So this is a brief geography. And coming to a brief history, the conflict has been ongoing for more than 100 years between Jews and Arabs over a piece of land between the Arab River and the Mediterranean Sea. And it was between 1882 to 1948 when the Jews around the world gathered in Palestine. So Jews from all around the world, they gathered in this region. And then in 1917, the Ottoman Empire fell after the World War I and UK got the control over Palestine. And the land was inhabited by a Jewish minority and Arab majority. So friends, earlier Israel was not there. So this region was called Palestines and the people who inhabit there were called the Arab Palestinians. So that means the Palestinian Muslims in other words. And now the Jews came, and during this time we also recall the Balfour Declaration where UK and US, they wanted to shift all the Jews in most of the parts of the world to this region so that they can escape from the Hitler's vengeance. And all the Jews were concentrated here, and this encroached the place where the Palestinian Muslims were already residing. So now the conflict arose between the Israel, which was called the Jews, and the Palestinians, who are the Muslims. And even today the fight is going on, and many outfits like the Hamas and others are being set up to fight. And on some day in future, if the dispute resolves, then we will update ourselves. And then the Balfour Declaration was issued after the Britain gained control with the aim of establishing a home for Jews in Palestine. However, during that period, Arabs were in majority in Palestine, and Jews favored the idea while Palestinians rejected it. Friends, however, almost 6 million Jews lost their lives in the Holocaust of Hitler, which also ignited further demand for a separate Jewish state. And Jews claimed Palestine to be their natural home, where the Arabs too did not leave the land and claimed it. So we already discussed this history, and then also take another look over the geography. Then come to next, the Anang Tal. So this Anang Tal has been given the National Monument tag, and this is a 1,000-year-old lake which is located in Delhi's Mehrauli. So it is a mini lake situated in Mehrauli in New Delhi, and it was created in the 1060 AD by the founder king of Delhi, that is Maharaja Anang Tomar. So that's why the name Anang Tal, and it is situated to the north of Jogmaya temple and approximately 500 meters to the northwest of Qutub complex. So it is nearer to Qutub complex and also Jogmaya complex. And Tomar Singh Anangpal II was the builder of Lal Kot. So friends, don't confuse this Lal Kot with Lal Killa. And then Alauddin Khilji in 1296 and 1316 AD utilized the water of this tank when he built Qutub Minar and extended the Quwatul Islam Mosque. So for all these, he used the water from the same lake, that is the Anang Tal lake. And then Maharaja Anangpal is also known as the Nana, that is the maternal grandfather of Prithviraj Chauhan. So remember this Anang Tal. So it is in Mehrauli. It is nearer to Jogmaya and Qutub complex. It was built by Maharaja Anangpal Tomar, and also Alauddin Khilji used its water to build the Qutub complex. And this Anangpal, he is also the maternal grandfather of Prithviraj Chauhan. And lastly, the national monument tag is given by the Archaeological Survey of India. So mark this as important. Then come to next, the Falkland Island. Falkland Island are an archipelago in South Atlantic Ocean on the Patagonian shelf. So friends, this is the Patagonia Plateau, and here we have the Falklands. And then more facts. These are also called as the Malvinas Island or the Spanish Islas Malvinas. And Argentina has maintained that the Falklands were illegally taken up from it in 1833 by England. And as a British overseas territory, the Falklands have internal self-governance, and the United Kingdom takes responsibility for their defense and foreign affairs. So remember the geography, remember Patagonia Plateau, and also remember the administration by UK. Then come to next, Kuril Islands. So Kuril Islands are stretched from Japanese island of Hokkaido to southern tip of Russia's Kamchatka Peninsula. So friends, here we can see Japan and the southern tip of Kamchatka Peninsula. So in this region, the Kuril Islands will lie. And this Kuril Island separates the Okhotsk Sea from the North Pacific Ocean. So here we can see the Okhotsk Sea and the North Pacific Ocean being separated. So friends, such questions UPSC will ask again and again. So we should be thorough about that. Then the chain is a part of belt of geological instability circling the Pacific. So we know the Ring of Fire. And then the sovereignty of Kuril Islands is disputed between Japan and Russia. So remember, that's why it was in news. So these are some of the topics. Then coming to the last part, friends. So as we have seen that India is a place where n number of tribes, cultures, traditions, so they will live with peace and harmony. So friends, that is what Gandhiji said about Ramarajya. Ramarajya is where when a spiritually conscious human being, he will see a single God among the different hearts. So immaterial love from where you come from, and immaterial love who are you and what are your wealth. So what are your culture, tradition, tasting, etc. So there is a same human heart within you, and within that heart, the same God rests, as do the heart of me. And if you learn that, so no one will try to trouble others, no one will try to feel difficulty on others. So therein lies the peaceful coexistence, and therein lies the bliss of heaven, where Rabindranath Tagore wanted the nation to move. So we will all move towards that heavenly nation. So all the very best from my side. Good luck, friends.